Welcome to Soccer Morning on World Soccer Talk. Here's your host, Jason Davis.
Good morning, everybody. For the last time in 2015, welcome to Soccer Morning on WorldSoccerTalk.com. I hope your New Year's Eve has gotten off to a fine start. Around here, we are taking stock. We are looking ahead. We are realizing that nobody wants to do anything on New Year's Eve. We have determined, I'm pretty sure, producer Trevor can back me up here, that really everybody's getting ready for their evening and really could care less about coming on and talking soccer on Soccer Morning, which we're going to put that to the test with you, the listener, when I open the phone lines in, about 10 minutes. If you are interested in talking about soccer or covering the stories of 2015 or looking ahead and making some wacky predictions in 2016 or some real predictions in 2016, that's what this show is going to be for. I'm going to just make the statement right now. We are going to blow the doors off this thing on the way out with a bunch of phone calls. Do not make me a liar. Do not turn me in. Please do not turn me into a liar. Celebrate the new year with me or celebrate the end of 2015 with me. Certainly, if I had a glass, I would raise it to you. I do not. I have water. Hi, here's water. There you go. We'll keep that going. Let's do some news. Again, ahead of a call-in special here on a Thursday that happens to be the last day of 2015. Liverpool gets the Christian Benteke goal to salvage a win over Sunderland at the Stadium of Light. Liverpool moves up to 7th place in the Premier League table. Sunderland sits 19th with their chances of climbing out of the relegation zone looking pretty bleak for 2016. They're going to need a lot of points and don't know where they're going to come from. So Sunderland, Black Cats, it could be the year they finally find themselves playing in the second division when it ends or when the new season begins in the fall. La Liga, Barcelona beating Real Betis 4-0 to stay atop the standings in Spain. Luis Suarez scoring twice after halftime. Lionel Messi hits home a penalty in his 500th appearance for the club. That's right, 500 appearances for Lionel Messi in a Barcelona shirt, and he scored 1 billion goals. I'm not sure what the number is. It's 400 and something. It's insane. Whatever it is, it's an insane amount of goals. Atletico Madrid remains tied on points with Barcelona after a 2-1 win over Rayo Vallecano, and Real Madrid sends 2 points back in third place after Ronaldo scores a brace in a 3-1 Madrid win over Real Sociedad. Ahead of Chelsea's game of the weekend, interim boss Guus Hiddink stated clearly that he still remains interested in bringing Didier Drogba to Stamford Bridge in a coaching role. He rejected the notion that Didier Drogba could be an ambassador for the club. He said something about going around the world in a tie. Not something he thinks that Didier Drogba should be doing, should be coaching. So we'll see. He also said that Chelsea must respect the contract that Drogba has with Montreal. So is Montreal in control of the situation or not? It remains to be seen. We've got Phoenix Suns owner Robert Sarver reportedly closing in on a deal to take majority control of the Spanish club Mallorca. Sarver's group has outlined a 3-year strategy to get the club back into the top division in Spain. This is the same group that took a run at both Rangers in Scotland and Levante in Spain in recent times and came up short in both of those situations. So we'll see if this deal gets done for Mallorca in Spain, a club that right now is sitting in the second division and would like to get itself back up to the top level of Spanish football. Portland Timbers defender Liam Ridgewell, a man who was a crucial part of the 2015 MLS Cup title for the Timbers, is going on a short loan to Brighton and Hove Albion in his native England. The loan runs from January 1st when he becomes eligible for Brighton through February 13th. Brighton is currently in 4th place in the championship. So I guess this is a depth move for Brighton and an opportunity to stay fit for Liam Ridgewell. He returns to Portland in time in February to join the club as they open up their preseason campaign, looking to defend their MLS Cup title. Again, Ridgewell saying all the right things about playing here in the United States. I imagine he'll be fine coming back, but a loan that has to scare Timbers fans just a little bit in the sense that there could always be an injury on in situations like that, and if you get injured away from the club that's actually paying your salary, never a good look for either party. All right, so again, last show of 2015. There's a lot of stories out there. There's a lot of things that we've dealt with over the course of the last 12 months that we can talk about. There's a lot that we're going to deal with over the course of the next 12 months that we can talk about. The Copa America, the Olympics, the U.S. women going into the Olympics, the U.S. men trying to get to the Olympics. What else we got? A new MLS season, obviously, coming up shortly. The close of the European campaigns. Can Arsenal get the job done and win a Premier League title for the first time since 2004? Will we see MLS teams make big signings, big names coming into this league for another season? Will we see some of the stranger rumors out there come to fruition, like Ashley Cole joining the LA Galaxy, which remains a head-scratcher on many a level? Will we see a new expansion or team or two announced in MLS? So much to consider in 2016. Get your predictions ready. I don't care what they are. I will take them. We probably won't write them down. Maybe I can. Maybe I can find a piece of paper. Gonna get scratch paper. Okay. We'll write them down. We'll put them in the book, and we'll come back at the end of the year, and we'll see how you did. How about that? That's a good deal. Let's start with that. When I come back, phone lines open on Soccer Morning, WorldSoccerTalk.com, and don't go anywhere.
Welcome back to Soccer Morning on World Soccer Talk with Jason Davis.
All right, here we go. Soccer Morning on a Thursday, December 31st, 2015, the final day of the year. Looking ahead to 2016 predictions. Anybody got a time machine they want to bust out? Give us an idea of what to expect in 2016. I would happily take your predictions. I don't know if I want to know what's going to happen, because then that ruins the fun of finding out. I don't know. How would you handle that? If somebody said, I have a time machine, we can go find out who wins, wins the MLS Cup, wins the World Cup, wins whatever you care about. Maybe it's a soccer-only time machine, going back to our Back to the Future Day stuff. Your soccer-only time machine, do you want to know what's going to happen? Do you want to know who wins? Because what's the point of following the season and living and dying with every game if you already know who wins? The only reason to do it is, as Trevor says, to put bets down on the game so you can become rich and then have a tower and take over Hill Valley. Or is it Hill Valley? Is the name of the town? Yeah. That's the only reason to get a time machine and go find out the score, the winner of games and tournaments and the like. Because you're completely wrecking every reason you have to be a fan if you already know the result. If you already know who wins, why are you watching? And this comes to the question, like, if you could guarantee your team a win ahead of time, would you do that? I mean, I guess you would, right? You have to. But if you know they're going to win, you can't possibly enjoy that game as much. Or at least your emotions aren't taken on the ride that you want. Maybe if you don't know exactly how it happens, you can enjoy that part of it. But if somebody gave you the option, if the devil came to you and said, "Here's the deal, your soul for the United States to win the World Cup in 2018." Do you take that deal? Trevor Hayward, do you take that deal? Do you take the deal? World Cup for your soul. A World Cup title for the United States of America in 2018. If you can go back in time and kill baby Courtois, do you? That's good. Oh, man. Yeah. We're busting out the time machines here on New Year's Eve. I didn't bring any champagne. Like, if I wanted to be gimmicky here on Soccer Morning, I could have brought some champagne. I do have something queued up here, though. I do have this queued up. This is terrible. Wait a second. What is not what I wanted? Okay, that's not what I wanted at all. Let's try this again. Let's try what I really wanted. Maybe this is it. Well, this is going to be an ad. Hey, it's the last show of the year. Don't give me crap for that. 646-832-3909 is the phone number. If you don't call me, we don't stay on the air. That's pretty much how this is going to work today. Since there seems to be nobody who wants to do anything. Man, another okay. I don't want the guitar version, right? That's basically my issue. The guitar version of the song is not gonna cut it for me. All right, here we go. So what we got here? No, it's not gonna play. 646-832-3909 is your phone number.
To my big brother George,
oh, this is from
the richest man in town.
It's a Wonderful Life. There you go. Everybody's singing together. Can we actually hear that? Every time a bell rings, an angel gets its wings. All right, sorry. You already know about that. Vince says you would need to go back in time to find Wondolowski early in his youth career and develop him to avoid that Belgium fiasco. Wow, that's some harshness, Vince up in Canada. In Canada. Fan of the Canadian national team, Vince. Harsh, man. Chris Wondolowski is an all-time great in MLS. So he missed a sitter in the World Cup. Come on. Who hasn't? I mean, most people haven't, but who hasn't? 646-832-3909. Still trying to find a decent version of Auld Lang Syne. It's just not going to happen, I guess. I mean, the Kenny G version? Does anybody want to hear that? How many people am I turning off of Soccer Morning right now? Trevor Hayward's never going to listen to Soccer Morning ever again. That's going to make doing the show kind of hard. Okay, we'll get rid of that there. That's Kenny G playing Auld Lang Syne. Stephen Clark on Twitter. What players do you think will have weird New Year's traditions, and what would those traditions be? I.e. Black Eyed Peas, etc. You know, how many people actually follow the Black Eyed Peas tradition, the superstition? The Black Eyed Peas thing. Does everybody know about that one? Do you have any weird superstitions in your family, Trevor? Anybody out there have superstitions that they follow for the new year? Okay. Maybe I can look this up because I've heard superstitions are dumb. Man, how many sports did you play? People who play sports and follow sports are superstitious. It just comes with the territory. Let's see. We obviously have the whole resolution thing, which I haven't brought up till now because I really hate resolutions. I'm not a big fan of the whole let's make a thing just for the new year that I'm probably not going to follow through on deal. Like that just doesn't work for me. It never has. I've actually done a lot in 2015 that I didn't resolve to do that are good things that normally I would resolve to do, if you know what I'm saying. So, yeah. Wow, you got loud real quick. What's up, Kenny? How you doing? How's your New Year? Oh, wait, hasn't started yet. How's your New Year's Eve? All right, there we go. Let's see. We've got the Black Eyed Peas, Hog Jowl and Black Eyed Peas, says this website. I've never heard of the Hog Jowl part, but okay. The Pennsylvania Dutch eat sauerkraut to get rich. Maybe I should do that. A tradition common in the southern states dictates that the eating of black eyed peas on New Year's Day will attract both general good luck and money in particular. All right. So there you go. Black eyed peas. Smoked sausage for the Pennsylvania Dutch. All right. We'll keep that open. We'll just if you got a superstition you want to share, we can do that. Also, on an open top topic here as we close out 2015. And again, I put this out on Twitter the other day, I think Tuesday night, and I mentioned it yesterday on the show. What do you want to see out of Soccer Morning in 2016? What do you want us to be bringing you more of? What do you want to see us do that we haven't done before? What elements of the show do you like? What elements of the show would you like to? What elements would you like to see added to the show? I mean, again, keep it within reason. We're a grassroots thing, sitting here, trying to put together a show every day on a shoestring budget. Eric on Twitter, my family did black-eyed peas and spinach, but my parents also grew up in Virginia and North Carolina, so there's that. Yeah, it's a southern thing. I think that black-eyed peas thing from my family came from my grandmother, who is from Southern Virginia. But I'm not sure the rest of my family is on board with the black-eyed peas thing. Mostly Midwestern folk. The rest of my family. Midwestern and some Philadelphia there. All right. 646-832-3909. Any idea when the January camp roster will be announced? I do not know that, Mark. We should check with Mr. Sharetta. I'm sure he has an idea, or at least has heard something. That January camp. That would be nice to know when that's coming, right? That would be nice to have some idea. Yeah, I'm just going to leave Kenny going until the phone lines start moving. Basically is what we're going to do here. It's we've been on the air for 20 minutes. I've already played a lot of Kenny G. Way more Kenny G than I ever thought I would play on this program. I mean, it's so smooth. How can you dislike that Kenny G? Old Lang Syne on a New Year's Eve. 646-832-3909. Let's see. Nicholas Chavez for 2016. How about a live podcast from one of the NASL home openers? Sure, that would be lovely. You know that if the, what were they going to be called? The Virginia Cavalry? Cavalry? How do you say that word, Trevor? If the Virginia Cavalry had gotten off the ground and hadn't folded after not doing anything and had actually been a thing, I would be able to drive to their stadium in about 20 minutes from here, from where I'm sitting right now. From my house, it's about 10. In fact, I went out to a bar in the town center village area where that stadium was supposed to be built just the other evening. Gateway City Goalpost would love to see more coverage of the USL. Seems most lower league coverage centers around Sacramento, Minnesota, and the Cosmos. I mean, look, okay, we will absolutely make an effort to bring forth some more coverage. But here's the problem. And look, I'm not trying to be mean about this, but since we're bringing it up and we're going to have this conversation, we're going to cover what is of interest to the most people. I mean, that's part of our thing here. We have to do that. We're niche as it is. And while the USL is growing and they're adding more teams, I mean, we just went over the expansion plan on SiriusXM-FC that they've got at their website. Strategic expansion yesterday. And the MLS partnership is interesting, and all those MLS teams are interesting in the league. it remains super niche. I mean, if MLS is niche, then USL is super niche. Okay, I mean, it's just a fact of life that we all have to deal with. By the way, someone hit me up on Twitter this morning. I'm going to get to this phone call in just a second. Bill, hold on a second. Somebody hit me up on Twitter this morning, tagged me in a tweet. I think Darren Ravel, who we all love, right, put out a tweet this morning about a poll of the most popular sports. Let me see if I can find this. Yep, Jibo Jenkins hit me up. Most popular sports as voted by fans in a Harris poll. Number 1, NFL. Number 2, Major League Baseball. Number 3, college football. Number 4, NBA. Number 5, college basketball. Number 6, the NHL. Number 7, NASCAR. Number 8, PGA Tour. Does anybody hear any soccer in that poll? Look, it might not be completely representative, but it's a poll of probably some pretty notable size. Bill, excuse me. Man, my voice is going. Bill, you're on the air.
Hey, Jason, how you doing? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, Bill. What's going on?
Hey, speaking of niche sports, like I'm one of those weird Red Bulls fans who pays a lot of attention to like the USL team that they have, and even occasionally the PDL team. And I found myself fascinated with the team that they own over in Germany, the RB Leipzig team, because the moment they're in first place by a good number of points in the second division there, and it seems very likely that they will be in the Bundesliga next year. And I was curious if you had any opinion on what that would mean, both for the Red Bulls team here in America, being that they would have a team in one of the major soccer leagues, not MLS notwithstanding, and also for German soccer as a whole, whereas they kind of would be a threat to the establishment of the 50+1 membership system that German football really prides itself on.
Well, they have to follow letter of the law for the 50+1. So I don't really understand. I mean, we've had some talks. I think Brian Blickenstaff has been on this show. We may have talked to who else did we talk to about this, Trevor? A couple of other people out of Germany, and I'm still kind of confused as to how Leipzig works exactly.
My understanding of how it works is that there are the club membership. For instance, like Bayern Munich has something like 260,000 members, and they each pay something around like €60 a year for their membership. My understanding is that RB Leipzig has something like 11 active members, and they pay something around like €1,200 per year for their membership, and all those 11 people are executives at the Red Bull Corporation.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a loophole that I think German football would probably like to close. They're obviously talking about this is the end of the world, and it's a disaster for German football, and everybody's going to hate them. Now, everybody needs a villain. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with a team like Leipzig going up and then being the villain. I don't think they're going to be challenging for titles anytime soon at the top level in Germany. As for what it means for Red Bull in the States, I don't know. I mean, this is we're only a year removed of pretty significant rumors that Red Bull wanted to get out of MLS, Bill.
I'm pretty sure most of those rumors are just created by people that are in the fan base who desperately want them to sell the team. I think the truth of a lot of those is somewhat wishful thinking on a lot of our parts.
Okay. Well, I mean, at this point, does everybody feel that same way? I mean, this was obviously back when Mike Pecky had just been fired and the like.
Well, I mean, it's the kind of thing they're the scapegoat for when anything is bad. When anything is bad, when the team is losing, it's all Red Bull's fault. And when the team is winning, then we just forget about them and we say, "Oh, you guys are okay." That because of our very unique history and the way that things kind of went down. They're always there to be the punching bag as soon as anything goes wrong. That even after losing to Columbus, people are saying, Red Bull out after the year that they had. Because it's just easier that way. It's easier to blame them because they're not here and they're not us. Sure. They're this foreign entity. So, I can only speak for myself, but I feel like a lot of people that it becomes the easy scapegoat.
Sure, but I mean, okay, so let's try to reason this out. Why would Leipzig in the Bundesliga necessarily impact the Red Bulls in MLS? Is there?
Well, the fear is that because they would have a team in the top flight in Germany, one of the four biggest leagues in the world, that all of the money that they have that goes towards their soccer projects in the U.S. and Austria and Germany, that the German team would get the bulk of that funding. That's what people worry about. That if they're going to pay big transfer fees, they're not going to pay them here in America. They're going to pay them in Germany. But the counter to that argument is that they just won a supporter shield this year with one of the lowest payrolls in MLS. So, if they're going to divest from the New York side, it's a question of how much they could really divest because they've already done it and it worked.
Yeah,
so.
Well, okay, but at the same time, you want to see. I mean, they're the off the books dollars, and what I mean is not on the salary side of things, but in terms of academy investment and that kind of thing.
Oh yeah, and hey, listen, it's worked. We produced 3.5. U.S. men's national team products, if you count Connor Lade's Camp Cupcake call-up a few years ago as a call-up. But I mean, yeah, and you look at, Agudelo and Miazga, and, they're definitely producing the talent. It's just, it hasn't led to anybody winning anything. But, so, I mean, again, I think the fear that some fans on the New York side have is just what that German team will need, especially if they actually do manage to succeed in Germany, if they do somehow rise up to even contend for a spot in Europe. And then that leads to even stranger questions about how you really market that team in America, because the Champions League is very big here, and the Bundesliga is growing very more popular here. I mean, you could make the argument that an FS1 match between Bayern Munich and RB Leipzig would get a higher rating than, let's say, a Friday night game between New York and Columbus.
Yeah, okay, maybe. I mean, I don't think you have anything to worry about yet, Bill. Let's just say it that way, especially coming off a supporter shield, right?
I got plenty more things to worry about than this German team, but it is something that I think a lot of us are cognizant of, that it could become a thing if priorities need to be made. Clearly, I don't think just being in New York City alone is enough to make this MLS team the priority.
Okay, fair enough. Bill, appreciate the call, man. Happy New Year.
Sure.
Happy
New Year.
Bill up in NYC. Let's move on to our man Roberto up in Connecticut. What's up, Roberto?
Hey, Mr. Davis. How are you?
I'm wearing sunglasses. It's the last show of the year. We played some Kenny G. You tell me how I'm doing.
I'm doing well, probably better than me, coming out of an 11-hour flight from Brazil. Just arrived here a few minutes ago.
Yeah, I saw your pictures. Roberto and I are Facebook friends. Yeah, I saw your pictures down in South America. Looked like a good trip.
Oh, yeah, it was great. Fantastic. So just my question to you is, and another question as well, is what are your takeaways from 2015 watching soccer, just taking out off the pitch issues, just enjoying it? What did you enjoy?
The U.S. women in that game against Japan, that was one of the more astounding things I've ever seen in a title match. I don't care if it's women's soccer, men's soccer, boys soccer, girls soccer, whatever. That's pretty astounding. Let's see. We'll go back. Oh, wow. I'm trying to even remember what the Champions League was like with Barcelona and Juve. Certainly remember that. Remember Barcelona winning yet another trophy. We've had, we had some pretty amazing performances on the field. We had Iceland qualifying for the Euros, which is pretty fantastic. The Dutch and their failures to get to the Euros. I mean, that's pretty stunning stuff. I don't know. Give me other stuff, Roberto. Obviously, Chile.
I think you hit it. I think you hit it on the nail right there.
Well, I guess a low point would be.
I think a low point would be honestly the Gold Cup campaign for us.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, if we're going to talk about the other side of things, the Gold Cup campaign for the United States, the refereeing in that Gold Cup absolutely stands out as a memory. It's certainly a bad memory. And then you have what Mexico managed to do at the Rose Bowl. I mean, the United States hung on. They got thoroughly outplayed and managed to take it to extra time and lost, and that, painful moments there.
Mm-hmm.
Painful moments there.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I think the United States, I think you hit it on the nail right there. I think Definitely. And what are you looking forward to in 2016? Obviously, the
Copa America,
the Euros and the Copa America.
Yeah, Copa America. I mean, I hope and with your support, we can make this happen. Sound like a politician, but I hope that 2016 and the Copa America means some pretty big stuff for us here at Soccer Morning. Whether that's tied to what we're doing on the web show, what we're going to do with Sirius XM FC, those kind of things. I mean, there are so many opportunities for soccer to blow up in this country, not in the way that we talk about, soccer is going to suddenly become the most, a very important sport, but just take another step. And for lack of a, let's forget all of that gross stuff and just talk about the number of fans who are already here, the number of people who are already fans of soccer who get to celebrate a summer of soccer through the Copa America and watching the Euros and diving into really some of the best soccer we can get outside of the World Cup in terms of international competition, plus all of the domestic campaigns.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And when you're talking about the Copa America, you're talking about a tournament returning to the U.S. as big as this since the '94 World Cup. So it's going to be really exciting to see it happen, as well as the Euros happening in France.
Yep. There you go, Roberto, man. It looked like a great trip. Hope you enjoy your new year, and we'll talk to you soon, man.
Thank you. You too. Yep. Thank you. You too, Jason. Enjoy.
Roberto up in Connecticut. All right. So I called him out, and I had to. I'm sorry. It was part of the show here. But Vince in Toronto. It's been a while, man. What's up?
It's been a long while, Jason. Just good life and how's everything with you?
Oh, it's fantastic. I'm ready for 2016, Vince. I'm excited.
And you're wearing shades because, it's going to be bright.
That's right. The future's so bright, I got to wear shades, Vince. I mean, you're way too young to actually really know what that song's all about. But trust me, it speaks to a certain generation.
I'm sure it does. Jason, I just there's this thought that periodically comes into my head, and I need to finally share it because I just find it hilarious. People, when it came to the World Cup in 2014, people always would talk about who was the best player, for the U.S. Was it Dempsey? Was it any of the German Americans? I'd argue it wasn't any of them. And I'd say, the biggest American hero during the World Cup was a Ghanaian player, actually, John Boy, who was a defender. If you watch the videos of the U.S. goals, he was at fault for all of them. He was the one that got met by Dempsey for the first goal. He didn't mark John Brooks on the second goal. And then against Portugal, when the U.S. needed Portugal to beat Ghana to advance, he made a really bad defensive play that gave Ronaldo a goal to get Portugal the victory. So I just find it funny when I think about, he should just get American citizenship for services rendered because of how much he helped the U.S. With his performance during the World Cup.
Wait, what's happening here? First of all, why are you talking about 2014? And second of all, why are you dumping on my country twice in one day, Vince? What's going on here?
That's not my intention. It's just something that I thought about. Like, I've been thinking about this for a while now, but I've never got the opportunity to share it. And 2016 is coming, so might as well get everything from the past out of the way.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's a fun fact, I think.
It's a fun fact that John Boy had a terrible World Cup a year and a half ago that we need to review because why?
I'm nostalgic. What can I say?
All right, Vince. Well, what else? What's going on? What's going on with Canadian soccer? Give me the update. How are things right now in the effort to qualify for 2018?
It's funny. I think I alienated myself from the Canadian soccer media. They all hate me. You know what I mean? Rollins, Squizzato. They all look down on me because I'm a very negative person, I guess. And fair play to them. They're absolutely right. I expect a lot from the team. Maybe I shouldn't. But then when I see mediocrity rewarded, I don't necessarily get all excited. But maybe that's just I have a wrong perspective. But we're doing okay, I guess. That's the important thing, right? We're surviving in the group. We got a point in Central America. Whether getting a point against the El Salvador B team is something to be really excited about, I don't know. You have to talk to one of those guys. But I don't know. Just optimism. I mean, That's the word thrown around a lot. And March we take on Mexico, so that'll be fun. Oh, we actually on the U.S. I forgot for you have your camp cupcake. We have camp poutine, I think, because we're being stereotypical. So that'll be fun to watch. I believe it's in Carson, right, at StubHub. So that'll be something to watch.
Camp poutine. That's pretty fantastic. All right. Well, look, I mean, I think there's some positive things coming out of the Canadian program right now. Whether or not you're ready to really push for a World Cup in this cycle might seem a little premature. It's at some point, do we have to worry about Benito Floro's age? How old is that guy?
He's in the 60s, I believe.
Okay, so maybe he's got
mid-60s.
Maybe he's still got some time, but it's 2015. If you're Canada, do you and Vince? I think we've had this discussion, but give me a sense. Do you think Canada should be putting everything they've got into a 2018 push, or should they be looking longer term and saying, okay, let's use this for experience purposes. Let's blood some new players. Let's try to get some players some good jobs in terms of their club soccer, so we can stop using that unattached player situation and really go after it in 2022.
It's difficult to say actually, because when Floro took over, his goal was long term, and he wanted 2022 because he kept saying we simply don't have the players needed for 2018, but I feel like that might have changed a bit, because I don't think Floro expected all these dual nationals to commit, a number of which will be too old for the 2022 cycle. I mean, Junior Hoylett will be 32 come 2022. He'll still be playing probably, but 2018 would be his prime. Scott Arfield of Burnley, rumors saying that he's going to commit to Canada in March when they face Mexico. He's already, I believe, 28 years old, so he'll be an older player come 2022. So you'd figure those two, a number of other dual nationals, other players like Atiba Hutchinson, Julian de Guzman, Will Johnson, even David Edgar, all these guys, they're all will be in the prime or right after the prime of their careers come 2018, and Floro is relying a lot on them. So it will lead me to believe that perhaps he's actually thinking about 2018 more than 2022, because all of a sudden we have this influx of talent, and the younger players, your Russell Pybert, your Jonathan Osorios, they're not necessarily playing as much as perhaps you would think if Floro was building to 2022. So, I'm getting the sense that he's moved all his eggs from 2022, and he's put a sizable amount of them into the 2018 campaign.
Well, that's the question for a country like Canada, which hasn't qualified since '86. The question is, can you afford to split your focus that way, or do you have to go full bore at one of them?
I think it's all right, because I still don't think anybody in Canada realistically expects us to get to the World Cup. I feel like our World Cup would be the Hex. If Canada can get to the Hex, that would be a big step forward. And then perhaps in the Hex is when you start seeing more younger players play. Or who knows, maybe Floro goes all in and just, brings back Thomas Redzinski or something and tries to get to 2018. But I think Floro wants to be competitive in this cycle, because I think he feels that he can be. This Canada team is very different. When I think about it, we haven't given up a 2-goal game in a very, very long time. I think the last time we did it was in January against Iceland, in a friendly. Since then, every game has been 1-0, basically. So, I feel like he does feel the current team to be competitive, and a lot of our guys are playing their best football of their careers, like Atiba Hutchinson. And we have a number of guys moving up in the ranks in European football, which is fantastic to see. And I think Floro perhaps feels that he can make a run. He can make a run at least to the Hex. And if that doesn't work out, I don't believe he'll be coaching come 2022. The implication I think that we've seen is that he'll pass it on to his son, who is currently the assistant coach with Canada. And so he'd be the one to lead us into the 2022 cycle. But I'd like us to be more competitive. I mean, we saw what happened at the Gold Cup, and I don't know what will happen in the 2017 Gold Cup. But for now, it feels like things are moving along slowly, but in the right direction. But come March, we could lose 5-0 to Mexico in both the home and away, Jason. And then I'll call in complaining that we wasted our time, and that he's worse than Klinsmann, and then we can fight over who's the worst national team coach.
Well, look, I mean, it's not. the group is obviously Mexico is the dominant team in the region, or the best team in the region. But El Salvador and Honduras, I mean, El Salvador's never met their actual potential, and Honduras is they're beatable, obviously, even for Canada, Vince. I mean, you're 4 points right now through those two matches is a pretty good return. I mean, like you said, maybe you get waxed by Mexico, but you're expected to lose to Mexico.
No, that's true. My issue with the El Salvador game, Jason, was that we saw with the strike that the players had with the federation, they were fielding a very weak team, and then you had Canada go into El Salvador, a chance to not run up the score, but really put in a dominant performance. But then Flora once again went defensive-minded. And this El Salvador team it's very underwhelming because a lot of the players aren't even regulars for their clubs or what have you, end up getting a 0-0 draw. Now a lot of guys would say, Canada never gets results in Central America. A 0-0 draw is a fantastic result. I'd argue against the personnel we were facing, we should have probably done better.
Okay.
But that. I don't want to get into that because I wasted a lot of breath with a lot of people over my issues with that. But yeah, 4 points, that's good, and it's better than 3, it's better than 2, it's better than 1, right?
All right. What's your? I mean, Vince, I know you're going to care because of your predilection for South American football, but how is it going to feel to be watching that Copa America tournament this summer with Canada not involved?
It sucks. I mean, Peru will be involved, so I'll be cheering them on, and they always seem to surprise us in tournaments. But it sucks, especially because it felt like we could make a run in the Gold Cup to get there. And I believe Matthew Doyle even predicted for Canada to win the Gold Cup and Kyle Larin to win MVP, but clearly that didn't happen. Yeah. But it's gonna suck. Yeah, I'll be cheering on the U.S. because I support you guys, as you know, so. That'll be fun to watch them in Peru, and I'm sad that Canada isn't in it. But you know what? When Flora was questioned about it, all he said was, "Well, we didn't give up many goals, so that's what's important." Yeah. So
yes,
clearly, it's not a focus for our national program.
Right at the moment, whatever. You have to move on with what you got in front of you. The last thing, since you brought up his name, and I haven't really addressed the rumors here on Soccer Morning, there are rumors linking Kyle Larin to a move, I believe, to Mexico. He's a young player, came out of college, scored a bunch of goals. Is he ready for that, and is that a good thing for him?
The man who broke the news, Anthony Tortera, is a fantastic guy, and typically never says anything without there being some truth to it. I don't see why Tigres would want Larin right now because of the strikers that they currently have. Even without Gignac, you have a number of other younger guys who have been coming through the ranks. I think Larin would do okay in Mexico. He's enough of a natural guy where I think just playing that environment and learning, he'd get better. But I'd rather see him stay in Orlando City, especially with the fact that Adrian Heath and the management, despite the fact that they don't have any faith in anybody in front office, they seem to have faith in their players so far, and they have faith in Kyle Larin. I'd like to see him continue to develop there, and I don't think Orlando City would want to sell him. Why would they? Their other striker options haven't necessarily worked out for them, and Kyle Larin's like that one constant that they can go to still. So, and I think his value is only going to go higher, right? It was his first season in MLS, and big things are expected from him from both Orlando and from Canada. So yeah. I see him staying in MLS. I think MLS, that's the kind of player that MLS should want to keep, and then sell on later, not try to get rid of early on in their career, perhaps a Breck Shea or someone who moves on and isn't really ready for that next level, and then just flounders in Europe, and that's not a help to MLS or to their respective national teams. So I'd like to see him stay in the U.S., but I would love to see a Canadian in Mexico because that's we haven't had that in a while.
Okay, there you go, Vince. I appreciate the call, man. I don't know how many times you called in 2015. I'm sure it was a lot. It was great talking to you every single time, man. We'll talk to you next year.
Jace, just really quickly, I just want to mention something. I saw something on Reddit about Los Angeles Galaxy that I found funny, and it's basically Bruce going to the owners, and the owners telling him, what kind of team do you want this year? And he's just like, give me that 2013 DC United.
I saw that. It's pretty funny. Thanks for the call. Vince dropping the mic on the LA Galaxy as he's out. 646-832-3909. Trevor has tweeted out a good question, your Soccer Morning moments from 2015, whatever those happen to be. I can't remember what I did yesterday on this show, much less have moments for the year. I mean, really, I would love to be able to go, man, I really enjoyed that moment. Or what about that moment? I don't even know how many shows did we do this year, Trevor? Like, I feel like maybe we missed 10 days total. Like, maybe we missed 10, well, maybe a little bit more than that with some technical stuff. So maybe 15 or 20. But that means that we did 300 shows, right? Or somewhere in that neighborhood. Something insane like that, right? How am I supposed to remember anything significant out of that number of shows? Maybe it wasn't 300, but it's certainly a lot. Tim on Twitter, Camp Strudel predictions. Do Satella, Ramirez, Restrepo, or Heineman make the call? Get the call up. Make the call up. Go Cosmos. I don't think... Maybe Christian Ramirez. And only because that path has been already forged or blazed. That path has been blazed by, we've already seen that happen. You've seen a guy go from the Minnesota United system to a call-up with the U.S. men's national team. And that was unique enough that it's hard to really point that over. Say that, it's hard to say that Miguel Ibarra's situation is necessarily going to mean that everybody in NASL is now open and available, and Klinsmann is likely to give them a look. Again, maybe Christian Ramirez. No to Danny Satella. I don't know how. Okay, I didn't watch Danny Satella in 2015, but I don't think he's going to get a call up. Restrepo, no. Heineman scoring a bunch of goals. I'd like to see him go. We had him on the show, I think, over at SiriusXM. Very nice guy. I'd like to see him get a look just because I like him, but I don't think that's going to happen. Stephen Clark, the great Scrapple debate of 2015 was fun. Yeah, okay, that's a good one. The breakfast food show that we did, which just came out of nowhere, was pretty good. Scrapple is an abomination. Do we agree on this or not? Scrapple is disgusting. There's no real argument that can be made that's going to change my mind about Scrapple. I'm sorry. It's gross. It's gross. Right, to stay in the Pennsylvania area, Ryan says Nick Sakevich getting canned was a good day. It's a good moment, soccer morning moment. Did that happen during this show? That happened during the SiriusXM show. That's also a problem, by the way. Memories getting blurred between the two shows. Memories between when did we talk about, which show did X happen on? Which show did Y happen on? Was it on the web show or was it on the Sirius? And we've been doing the SiriusXM show since March? Did we start this show we started this show in March, right? Or early April. First couple weeks of April. That's what it was. So, for my brain to process everything that we've done. I mean, come on. This is why we rely on you. Whatever moments you picked out in 2015 that you found to be the best, let me know. Hit us up on Twitter. Making a list of coaches that could survive hitting a press member a la Miguel Herrera. Did we do that? I think we did do that. That's a good one. I like that a lot. 646-832-3909. We are going to be on the air for 10 more minutes or for as many phone calls as is necessary, whichever comes first. So, well, whatever. If the phone calls don't come in, we will stop the show at 10 o'clock Eastern time and let you get ready for your New Year's Eve. Because none of you are working, right? This is another one of those days with everybody sits around, does nothing, chit-chats, makes 18 runs to the kitchen to grab some of the food that's come in. Maybe you had your potluck and there's some leftovers. You're not working. You're just not. Then you're all waiting anxiously for that email to pop up around 11 o'clock that says that you get to leave at 12 or 1. That's today. Today is one of those days. And you know what? I'm sort of waiting for that too. Sort of waiting for word I can leave early. I mean, I got to be here for the Sirius XM show at 11 o'clock. By the way, New Year's resolution, if we're going to do that, here's one you can actually follow through on. Get yourself a Sirius XM subscription. Get yourself access to Sirius XM FC. And I'm not just saying that because this show is on over there for 2 hours every single day covering American soccer. For everybody on Twitter who has said, please do more MLS, do more American stuff on the web show, do more USL, that's what you need to do, okay? This show, while we do as much as we can, and while when the news merits it, we cover those leagues and those happenings, this show is also meant to be a world football show. We do the Bundesliga. We do the Premier League. We do Serie A. We do La Liga. We do Mexico. We do South America. We haven't done South America in a while. We'll get back on that. But the Sirius XM show is an American-focused program. That show is about American soccer. If you miss if you're wishing for more American soccer coverage here, go get yourself a Sirius XM subscription and buy in and listen to that show. And then tell them that you got your subscription because of Soccer Morning, because that'll make me look good. But it's not just about Soccer Morning. There's some really good programming over there. It's Beyond the Pitch on Monday and Friday, and their match day shows on the weekend. You've got Grumpy Pundits, which is always fun. Tommy Smith, Rodney Marsh. You guys have really grown on me. We've got Eric Winalda killing it at night, doing his Eric Winalda thing. I mean, here's what this is my thought process. Like, I thought maybe I can be like the guy who pushes people's buttons and gets them going. Maybe, stirs things up a little bit in American soccer. And I think I do that occasionally. I think that's my role occasionally. But I'm never going to reach Eric Winalda levels. The guy has it down to an art form. And that's just him being Eric Winalda. And it's pretty good. So you should be listening to that. And then there's Counterattack. Brian Dunseth is now a regular part of Sirius XM FC, and he's brilliant. I don't know why you wouldn't want to listen to that. Rich Ransom, wish for 2016, bring back kickers. You and me both, Rich. You and me both. Eric says, I will interested in the dynamic between the web show and Sirius will look like in 2016. There's no plans for anything to change right now, Eric. Okay, so the web show, I mean, if we want to do this, pull back the curtain a little bit, here's an opportunity to do so. I'm going to get to Joe in a minute. We don't have any plans to change anything. If anything, what we want in 2016, and when I say we, I mean me and Trevor, what we want is to grow this little situation here while also doing the best thing we can over at Sirius XM FC. Okay, that show takes care of itself in a lot of ways. Hard to explain. This show, we have the web, we have the video function. We've got all of the graphics and the visual stuff that Trevor's put. By the way, if you haven't watched the show on YouTube in a while, go do it. It looks fantastic, and I don't mean me. Go do that. Okay, that helps us out too. Like if you're curious about what 2016 is going to bring for Soccer Morning, really what you need to do is support this show. And we're looking for more sponsors and more backers and more investment and more partners, and that's our goals in 2016. Nothing changing in terms of the programming, just making things better that we've already done. All right. We also have on Twitter the entire Sporting KC run the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. Love that tournament. That's from Mike on Twitter. That's a good one, a good memory. All right. Let's see here. Let's go with Joe. Yep, my kid's around, so you're going to have to deal with some distractedness. Joe, what's up?
Hey, what's going on? Was curious about having two teams in the same city but in different leagues, and whether that's good for the fan base or a problem for the fan base. Because I guess promotion of the game and having those different teams in the same market is good, but could it also be a bad thing?
Give me a scenario. What are you talking about exactly?
Cincinnati Saints moved to Dayton, so now we have the Dayton Dynamo and we have the Dayton Dutch Lions, USL, PDL, and MTSL.
Yeah, and you've got that Oklahoma City situation where you have the established USL team, OKC Energy, and now you have a team coming in. NASL has been trying to push for a team, and now they're going to bring one in terms of Rio OKC. We did briefly have Tampa with both a USL team and a NASL team. I'm trying to think what other markets are like that. You may have a future where some, Northern California has multiple teams in different leagues and essentially the same market. I don't like it very much. In a perfect world, with the romantic notions that we ascribe to soccer sometimes, certainly when it comes to London, the idea of multiple teams being in the same city sounds great, especially when it comes to rivalry. I guess, from an MLS perspective, that's partly why you want NYCFC inside the 5 boroughs with Red Bulls across the river, so you can create that rivalry within the market. Obviously, the Cosmos there as well. But I think generally, if you're not New York, you're talking about stretching the soccer fan base pretty thin.
Is it a problem to support both teams, or is that just financial on the fan base?
Well, I mean, that's. I don't think most people are. Okay, we're still in sort of the soccer booster phase, the whole team soccer thing that I talk about a lot. We're still enough in that phase that I can imagine people supporting both teams on principle. I'm supporting soccer. Go soccer. Not just the energy, not just Rayo OKC, not just Dayton this or Dayton that, but I'm supporting soccer. Yay. The problem is when it comes down to where they spend their money. Are you really going to get a fan to pay for season tickets to both teams? No, probably not. Not the least of which because you're going to have overlap in terms of games and the like. I think that's probably, that's the issue is you can't ask people to support both teams. And as a fan, it becomes too taxing. And then you end up picking one. And part of it is we have established that leagues are now fighting with each other, and you're not just picking a team, you're picking a side in some epic soccer battle, the soccer wars of of the 2000s or whatever we're calling them.
Right. Well, awesome. Hey, thanks for taking my call.
Appreciate the call, Joe. I mean, look, and we talked about this yesterday with expansion. When I did this on the Sirius XM show, so I apologize. I'll bring that discussion over here. Okay, I don't begrudge any league the right to go and try to maximize its business prospects and do what's needed to make itself an established, ongoing, stable operation. But we have rampant, out of control expansion happening right now, and that's MLS, that's NASL, that's USL, that's even lower than that. Okay, like I said yesterday on SiriusXM, USL's website, USLsoccer.com. Just below the header, just below the main story section of the site, gigantic banner that spans the entire width of the site. USL strategic expansion, the latest news surrounding the USL's new clubs for 2016 and 2017. And this list: Rio Grande Valley FC, Bethlehem Steel FC, Orlando City B, FC Cincinnati, Reno 2017, and Swope Park Rangers. Doesn't even include. There's a team I'm missing. Oh, San Antonio, which is coming in likely for 2017. So, and look, and not to pick on USL, but this is where we are now, where it's every market's got to have it. We got to get started. We got to get a team. We got to get going, and that's fine to a certain extent. But as we've seen with the history of American soccer, rampant expansion has too often led to disaster on the other end. Clubs disappearing. The defunct American Soccer Club page at Wikipedia remains the biggest indictment of everything we've done. Now, some people want to lay that at the feet of the lack of pro rel, and that's considering we've never had it, that's a fair thing to throw out. The notion that closed leagues have helped foster situations where teams have failed. I suppose, okay? But there are other reasons, other legitimate reasons that American soccer teams have failed that go beyond promotion and relegation. Okay? The overreaching of owners, the number of teams that were started with specious type ownership, with people who didn't necessarily know what they were doing, with leagues that were anxious and in an arms race, and that ultimately doesn't lead to good decision making. Want the USL to be strong. I want the NASL to be strong. I want MLS to be strong. I'm a fan of American soccer. I want these clubs to exist and build their fan base and create those legacy connections from generation to generation. That means in 50 years, we still have people rooting for the Tampa Bay Rowdies, whatever league they're in, okay? I want that. But when I look at what USL is doing with their rampant expansion, what the NASL is doing with Rayo OKC, which looks like a gigantic mistake, what MLS is doing, rushing into places like Miami, I have to worry, right? And I'm not talking about player pool and all of that. I just have to worry. All right. Bo on Twitter, Bo Dur, noted author on soccer. ProRel would only save teams if we had infinite lower leagues that still interested their owners. That's part of it. Because really, at some level, you have to have the infrastructure first before you can justify clubs. Owners would rather cash out and close down their shops than drop down. And because there's no tradition of it, because there's no history of it, because there's no guarantee that that's going to do anything to save your investment. All right. A couple of predictions here. Tim, Cosmos get a stadium in 2016. From your lips to God's ears, Tim, I'd love to see it. U.S. does okay at the Copa America. Klinsmann is loved again. Winalda gets a job. I don't know. I would love to talk to Eric directly. Does Eric want a job right now? Does he want a job, say, in MLS? All right. I got Edwin on Twitter as well. Crazy idea. Any chance in 10 years or so MLS and USL join? Maybe USL becomes the second division and MLS has relegation, or the same with NASL. There's that idea again. I will say no to anything with MLS. I will say it's possible that NASL opens itself up to a partnership with a different league, maybe NPSL, if NPSL gets professionalized, get some investment in there, get some stadiums done, that kind of thing, I suppose. Ray in Milwaukee, you're on the air. What's up?
Hey, Jason. I'd just like to say have a Happy New Year. And one of my favorite interviews that you've ever had, and that has really changed my opinion on soccer a lot, was the Dr. Zemansky interview.
Yeah.
It's crazy because I talk to certain MLS fans and I tell them this is what a soccer economist says, on how to become a league that where you want it to be, and a lot of the resistance that some of the MLS fans give you.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't agree with everything that Stefan Zemansky has to say, Ray, but I think the guy's got some pretty interesting ideas, and he explains himself and the reasoning for why he holds those opinions pretty well.
Right. Well, I mean, he's got me convinced. That's all I'm saying. Like, I went out and actually bought his books. I mean, after listening to your interview, and I haven't bought a book since college.
Come on, Ray. Reading is fundamental.
Yeah. Right. And one of the callers asked me how I feel about Mexicans playing here in MLS. And in my personal opinion, I think one of the reasons why Liga MX fans and MLS fans don't like each other is because we're too much alike. If Giovanni Dos Santos would have went to the Liga MX team, there would have been critics and by fans and by soccer pundits for him returning to Liga MX or going to Liga MX. Yeah. Just like Landon Donovan and Clint Dempsey's and Michael Bradley's move weren't universally embraced by the U.S. soccer fan when they returned to MLS from Europe.
Yeah, of course. I mean, and look, he obviously got a lot of heat for making the move to MLS, but I think he knew that was coming, and I give the guy credit for making the jump. I mean, he's getting paid a lot of money, Ray, but I give the guy credit for making the jump. the one that was going to bring even a little bit more criticism, going back to Mexico.
Right. But as for me personally, I don't have a problem with it anyways. And one of the things that I don't understand is either fan base, Liga, because I consider myself a fan of both leagues, is that you're going to dramatically pull away from one of each other. In my personal opinion, you're only going to make each other stronger. And I can't emphasize that you need to embrace North American soccer, really, if you're a North American soccer fan, because the only way this region grows is if each other go.
No, I'm with you 100%. I'm with you 100%. I think Liga MX needs MLS pushing it. I think MLS needs that goal of catching up with Liga MX. Absolutely.
Right, and then the only problem that I have is I don't see people. MLS fans always tell me that MLS has a higher ceiling than Liga MX, and I agree with that. But I just don't see them reaching their ceiling as fast as they really say that they're going to be. I mean, some of these fans talk about it, within the commissioner, Don Garber, when you really believe what Don Garber says when he says, all these things, and yet, he only tells us what he wants, not how we're going to get there.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, I think, generally speaking, excuse me, my opinion has been that Mexican soccer is underachieved for quite some time, Ray. So there's lots of opportunity for Mexican soccer to grow, for both on the club side and on the international side. But as you said, probably the ceiling for MLS is higher. It's just how do you get there and how quickly can you get there?
Right, I would agree with that 100%.
Ray,
go ahead.
Sorry.
Yes.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Nothing, Jason. You just said you have a good. And I would just like to say that your program is the best, and I think that this is the future of soccer talk in America, and when we talk about soccer in general and how soccer is covered, that we're going to have experts from everywhere, and that's the way soccer should be presented. And I think that you're a real trendsetter that way. And I really respect you, and that's what I think you're one of the best shows. I think you're the best show out there.
I appreciate it, Ray.
Whether it's English, Spanish, or it's television or radio.
That's Ray. It's an amazing compliment. Thank you so much. Happy New Year to you, my friend. I expect to hear from you many times in 2016.
All right, take it easy.
Ray up in Milwaukee. Good stuff from him. I love talking to Ray. Passionate guy about soccer in general, about Mexican soccer, about the Mexican influence in American soccer, the Latin influence in American soccer, I love callers like Ray. I mean, I love all our callers. Bill, Roberto, the guys calling in today. The other Bill, Robert in LA is actually going to fit in this category a little bit. Everybody, Daniel in Atlanta. I'm missing some people, obviously. Our man Vince up in Toronto who called in today. We've got Eddie in Brooklyn, absolutely deserves a mention. We've had callers Kansas City, Ohio, Oklahoma, many people over the course of the last couple of years, but certainly in 2015 who deserve mention. I love Ray because to me Ray represents the future of American soccer as embodied by someone who is knowledgeable about the entire North American thing. He knows MLS. He watches MLS. He pays attention to MLS. He knows Mexican soccer. He watches Mexican soccer. He is knowledgeable about Mexican soccer. And he is able to cross over and bring those two worlds together. We try to do that a little bit here. It's not always easy, but it's definitely worthwhile. All right, one more call, which I think is being screened as I speak. We'll get to that. That'll be the closing call for 2015. Just take this opportunity right here to thank Trevor for his efforts all year long. We've had some ups and downs. We haven't always been sure about the future of the show, but we are at the end. We're still alive. We are ready for 2016, and I'm really excited. And again, with your support, this show can get bigger and better in the new year. Bill in New York, speak of the devil. You're on the air.
Jason, what's going on? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, my friend.
I just I wanted to jump in real quick with what Ray had to say. I was the one who actually called a couple weeks ago saying, what did Ray think about the Mexico players come to the U.S. and if he thought it was a good thing or a bad thing. And then I really wanted to jump on what he said about you and your show. And I was thinking, like, going forward with the show and how I remember you saying something about improvements and stuff like that. The great thing about your show is all the people calling in. Like, every time I call you, I always get off track because somebody said something, and now I want to jump in on what they said. And I really think that that's what's special about this show, and something that, like, I don't know how you can advertise. I know money's impossible, but this is something that people have to realize that it's a live show and that you can call in, your voice is heard, and then you can disagree with the other people that are calling. It's not just one person's opinion, which we get from all these podcasts. You know, it's the guy who's doing the podcast, and we listen to him, and great, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean,
now you listen to everybody.
Bill, this show is not built on an original idea at all, and I'm the first one to admit it. Okay, when I got into doing a blog and then a podcast, I was aiming for live the whole time. I didn't have any career path that was going to lead me to radio, and there's not a radio station in this country of any real note that's going to put on a soccer show that takes phone calls. So what are my options? Oh, the internet. The internet allows me to do a live show every day. We have the technology to take phone calls. We're doing sports talk radio for soccer fans right here. And again, it's not an original idea, but I think it's worthwhile. And as you said, we get a little bit of everything here, and I love that.
Yeah, and it's original to soccer, though, right now, because nobody else is doing it. I realize that this is all the other shows are doing, all the other sports channels and everything else. But for soccer, you're the only one. You're the first one. And I wish, and like I said, I know you can't do this because money's so tight. This is something that should be advertised to people, that there is a soccer show out there where you can call. Yeah. And you can talk, and you can go on, and you can debate about other guys and what their opinions are. And that's what Ray was right on the money with that. That's what makes this show special, is that it's a little different from all the other podcasts. And like they said, all the podcasts, they seem to fill a set formula, and yours doesn't. And it's been a great show. I've been listening for 2.5 years, and I hope to keep listening. Jason, I hope you have a great New Year's. I just wanted to call in about that.
I appreciate it, Bill. You know, we came close. Thanks for the call, man. Happy New Year. We came close to a couple of things in 2014, as a matter of fact, that didn't come to fruition. We're gonna shake the bushes again in 2015 or 2016 rather, excuse me, and try to find a way to get to where Bill's talking about us getting to. Of course, as he said, there's no money. We're not going to be advertising anywhere. But maybe there's a partnership, and maybe there's a future for this show for a right-thinking network who might decide to jump on board. So I don't know. I don't know. There's possibilities all around. If you have any interest in Soccer Morning, please send an email to Trevor at backheel.com. No, seriously, do that. All right, that's it. Well, let's wrap this up. A very nice thank you a very nice message from Alexi Lawless on Twitter. Everybody who's called in, both Bills got on this show, Ray got on this show, Roberto got on this show. A good way to finish 2015. We will be back on Monday, the first new show of the new year. That will be John. When all the Philly stuff. Okay. Sorry, I'm reading Twitter. I want to get in these moments when all the Philly stuff went down. When Jonathan took over for 1 week, and when Jonathan took over for 1 week. That's right. When Jonathan stepped in and handled the hosting duties, people seem to love that. We'll bring back Jonathan Tannewald, if possible, in 2016 as well, both as a guest and maybe as a fill-in host if he's available. All right, that's it. We're done. I got to wrap this up. I could be sitting here all day long talking about soccer. Love to do it, but we can't. We got Sirius XM FC Soccer Morning coming up in about 45 minutes, so join me over there. Trevor, anything to say to the people as we close out the year, since your microphone's still not up to quality for him to be on the air? I don't know. Get turned. Do you mean get turned? Get turned, he says. I don't know exactly what that means, but I'm sure the kids are saying it somewhere. So there you go. There's your message. Get turned. I'll just say have a nice new year. Have a fun new year. Be smart. Be safe. Enjoy your soccer, whatever you're watching this weekend. We'll be back on Monday. Happy 2016, everybody.